Hey, good afternoon, everyone. Glenn Kellaway from the basement. It is Thursday, December 19th. Couple of things before we get started today. I'm going live tonight at 8 o'clock. Please join me with my good friend Robert Lawson discussing his new book, Solidarity Forever, The Art and Soul of Stephen Van Zandt. Please join us. If you're a Springsteen fan, if you like The Sopranos, if you like that Asbury Park, New Jersey stuff, if you like soul music, if you like activists and all kinds of stuff, it's going to be a really cool conversation. Robert's a really good guy, and I'm really looking forward to it. Okay, I got a couple things. First of all, I want to talk about a new release that I picked up, bit of a review, bit of an insight. First of all, one of the great musicians on the planet passed away this week with little fanfare in the VC because people just aren't really into that kind of music. But the great, amazing Zakir Hussain, the great tabla player, passed away this week at the age of 73. This guy is a genius musician, played with everybody from George Harrison on Living in the Material World to recent, well, he's been doing these collaborations, tours with Bela Fleck and Edgar Meyer for a long time, but most recent one was a couple years ago. They released As We Speak. Beautiful album, Zakir's name right there. Played with, who else have we got? This goes back to 1970, playing with Ali Akbar Khan at, where is it? Family Dog at the Great Highway, San Francisco, May 29th, 1979. This is one of those Bear Sonic Journal things. Very cool. Also had his own band, many other things, but the guy was a phenomenal musician. Look him up. An absolute genius. I got to see him perform with Bela and Edgar Meyer, I'm going to say 10 years ago, maybe, at a place called Corner Hall in Toronto. Beautiful place associated with the University of Toronto. And got to sit front row. I mean, the guy was incredible. So, Zakir, thank you for all the great music. And rest in peace. Okay, now, what I really wanted to talk about today, this just came in yesterday. Jerry Garcia, David Grisman just released on the 13th of December, Bare Bones, the duo recordings. So I've got this on CD, a 3 CD set. This is one album that I need to own on vinyl and CD. But for now, the vinyl is not showing for sale on Amazon Canada. So I'm not sure what's going on. Well, eventually, it took a while for this one to show up. So anyway, what this is. So as many as you know, Jerry Garcia started out as a bluegrass musician and a folk musician. Heavy into bluegrass, played the banjo, and he had a dream of playing with Bill Monroe and the Bluegrass Boys. And he started to travel to bluegrass festivals and stuff like that, and met the amazing David Grisman, one of the great mandolin players, jazz musicians, bluegrass musicians, has his own style of music they call dog music, because Dog, D-A-W-G, is David's nickname. They became fast friends in the 60s and kind of lost touch when Jerry started the Grateful Dead and David was doing his bluegrass thing. And then they ran into each other when the Grateful Dead were recording the American Beauty album. And Jerry asked David to come into the studio, and he played on Friends of the Devil and whatever else. So reconnected. Then they kind of lost touch again for a few years and got back together, I believe, in 1985. And they started playing together. And at first it was just the two of them. And eventually they brought in a bass player and percussion and stuff like that, and started doing some shows and things. But originally just the two guys. And this really is kind of looking back at the start of that musical partnership that went on until Jerry died. It was about a 10-year partnership where they were making records and playing in clubs and stuff like that. Uh, and just great acoustic music. So this is split up into 3 parts, 3 CDs. I'll just read you a little blurb. There's Jerry playing the banjo, and there's Grisman playing the guitar. Now, normally he plays the mandolin, but there they are again. There's guitar and mandolin, which most of this, I think there's only one banjo tune on this. But what this is, so if you read the liner notes, if anyone's interested in this background, it said, Jerry and I hadn't played together for 15 years when he walked into my living room in the summer of 1990. Oh, it was 1990. First thing he said was, we should make a record, so we'll have an excuse to get together. David had just started his own label called Acoustic Disc, and built a studio in his basement, and they decided to make an album for David's label. First of over 40 Garcia Grisman sessions, continuing until a few weeks before Jerry's passing in 1995. So it was 1990 to 1995, sorry. During those times, often in the spur of the moment, we explored the many cracks and crevices across many genres of our shared and unshared musical histories. While other musicians recorded with us, both live and via overdubs, our first sessions and occasionally others were just the 2 of us, bare bones. The first volume is bare bones recordings, just the 2 of them. It's just a beautiful, intimate recording. It sounds great. Fantastic stuff. A lot of old traditional songs. And then also they made an album. Here's some of the albums they made together. Grisman and Garcia, Shady Grove. Grisman and Been All Around This World. The Pizza Tapes, which included Tony Rice. Jerry Garcia and David Grisman, So What? This is their take on Miles Davis songs. Pretty cool. Also, my favorite, Garcia Grisman album. This is a MoFi SACD that sounds absolutely amazing. The vinyl sounds incredible too, if you could find that MoFi vinyl. Regardless, anyway, so this first disc is made up of a lot of old folk songs, old blues songs, old traditional songs that became like bluegrass songs. Also, they made an album called Not for Kids Only, which is really an album where they do a lot of songs that kids would just be attracted to. Like there's a song called No Bugs on Me, a song called Jenny Jenkins. So they do a lot of those songs too. It's really cool. The second volume is a Bare Bones Prelude, a musical foretelling of the many sessions that Jerry and I would record over the next 5 years. The second volume is comprised of the original recorded versions of tunes that became staples of the Garcia repertoire. So they did a lot of songs that are on this album. For instance, Arabia, which is like about a 16-minute song that has kind of a world music influence. But a lot of stuff, they did their version of Friend of the Devil. They did a great instrumental called Grateful Dog, Walkin' Boss, Man of Constant Sorrow, which probably most people are familiar with, the old folk song Shenandoah. So that's disc 2. And then there's a great picture of Jerry and David. And disc 3, it is, it says, now these are David's liner notes here. It says in his words, as a music collector and a completist, I recall the joy and surprise I experienced upon hearing alternate takes of recordings by jazz giants like Duke Ellington, Miles Davis, John Coltrane, Bill Evans, when CD versions of their classic LPs appeared with additional bonus tracks. So that's basically what this is a third volume is 16 alternate takes of the duos that were released on Garcia Grisman, Not for Kids Only, Shady Grove. And Jerry and I like to play these songs, and without a deadline, we'd often revisit them in different sessions. Of course, when it was time to put together an album, it had to come down to just one version. Now, with nearly 3 decades since Jerry's passing, these recordings can be heard from a more historical perspective. Listening to them now brings me back to those times in my converted garage studio with Decibel Dave Dennison getting it all on tape. Great memories of making music with my dear friend and kindred musical spirit, Jerry Garcia. Fantastic set. Really amazing set. Dying to get this on vinyl. If you're not familiar with David Grisman, he went on and did a lot of jazz stuff. Here's the David Grisman Quintet with Stefan Grappelli, the great jazz violinist from the Hot Club of France. And yeah, it's just excellent. If you're looking for something acoustic, I highly recommend. And if you're a Grateful Dead fan, you probably know all about it anyway. I will like to mention that my buddy Robert Hagerman is surprising the hell out of me. He's turned into a deadhead. He just did a video showing his Grateful Dead collection. I was blown away by how much great Grateful Dead stuff he has in his collection. And he's threatening to dive deeper. This is going to be fun to watch, this journey. Thanks, Robert, for doing that. And I'm really proud of you, my friend. Anyway, tonight, 8 o'clock, please be there. We'll look forward to it. Thank you.